But it sounds like game number 1 is ready. We are seeing the white flags, but I don't think either of these people are going to be waving a white flag and surrendering over easily. It's going to be a good old EU versus NA. VortiX up against PuppyPaw. And we're going to be starting off with a Japan-John matchup.
This is one of the very few matchups that I think can go like really rough one way or the other. Like having Japanese against John, you get access to the Onimushas, which are just absolutely great against John. However, recently more and more we saw the Archer type John play, where the Archer variant of John actually not bad versus Onimushas. Onimushas do a little bit less base damage than normal crossbows, so they wouldn't be doing a lot of damage there to Jean. And Jean, on the other hand side, with her Divine Arrow, I think it is, she's able to just almost one-shot. Like, at level 3, I think she pretty much one-shots the Onimushas.
She does. I think is it 100 damage? So I know it's 150.
Yeah, and they only have 80.
Oh, wait, what?
That was close. That was really, really close.
Just about got him in. But it's interesting you mentioned that, because like the interesting thought is like going for the range form does definitely save you from the Onimusha, but it doesn't have that same strike in the late game. You know what I mean? Like usually the reason why you go range form is now I can take out Siege. Not many Japanese players are pivoting into Siege in the late game, right? Like they pretty much keep their identity as a Zerg faction, just consistently spamming out melee infantry with gunners behind. So we'll see which way he wants to go. Looking at the spawn overall, if we're talking like early aggro plays, feels like VortiX has a pretty solid position to defend from here, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if he sets up an outpost near the berries and then another one in the center of the gold that blocks all routes from the west side.
Yeah, it's also really nice that now you can wall off towards resources. Like VortiX could just close up the back half of his map by walling towards his gold, and then PuppyPaw wouldn't have an option of like running behind the base.
Yeah, and it's also like the awkward thing we always have to highlight with Japanese. They're getting that stone trickle for free. They can actually afford double outposts to be upgraded. So like worst case scenario, you just outpost each side of the gold. You don't even have to think about walls. It's so easy peasy. And the reason why VortiX might opt towards that instead is if you look, he already went on the berries. I think this is a popular play on the rise actually with the Japanese. Tawara does not take very long to research. So if you run your villagers out and start gathering straight away, it pays off by the time you've exhausted the first berry patch.
Yeah, and getting plus 25%, you're basically early on a discount deli or discount Abbassid faction like that. You're getting a lot of free food, and I think it's only like a 7 or 8% difference between gathering from berries and sheep without the upgrade, and then suddenly you're ahead by a lot.
It's 0.66 versus 0.75 by default, but then because you're getting an extra 25%, you catapult ahead, right? Like, you're actually better off at that stage with 1 level, and then you get 2 levels. All of a sudden, you feel like you're on the ball. It's pretty nuts. The negative compared to the Deli and the Abbasids is you do eat for it quicker, sure, but I mean, there's enough there to get you to Castle Age. And if there's one thing and one thing only that most Japanese players care about, it's that.
Yeah. Kura Stonehouse, interesting placement here for VortiX. Builds it right next to the TC and the woodline. I like this in some ways more than others. At the very least, I like it more than what Louis did in the game earlier, just because the Kura Storehouse also has all the upgrades available that you get from the lumber camp. So you really don't need the early lumber camp, and plus 50 wood, so it's a little bit of a tempo boost towards your first unit production building.
I'm honestly waiting for when we start seeing people drop a Kura Storehouse next to like stone and wood, right? Because like it's a universal drop-off building, right? So if we ever get back to like 2 TC builds, that's going to be a super sick way of optimizing for that timing. I'm not going to see it yet, right? I think we're very much in the Castle Age meta, and this matchup in particular is a Castle Age race, at least for the Japanese. The interesting thing actually is I've seen this a few times, and what it usually turns into is like mass knights versus mass knights. And it's very difficult for Jean to win that, because we talked about Onimusha. You don't open with Onimusha. You just open with Mounted Samurai, because Mounted Samurai with the extra melee tech and also the deflect kind of mitigate the power of the French knight, right? Like you're on a more even ground when you consider one side gets bonus damage for 5 seconds, but the other completely mitigates your charge.
Oh, Vodka's spawning out right now. VortiX, he got the majority of the sheep here early on. Something else that we're seeing here now that's interesting, Jean. He aged up with 3 villagers, including Jean. So the age up came in a little bit faster than usual. But now Jean doesn't have the experience to age up. Instead, what PuppyPaw is going to do is he's going to go forward with the knight, and he's going to try to get an outpost up on one of the resources here from VortiX. But VortiX already getting his own outpost up, has enough resource in the bank in order to get the emplacement on his outpost.
You could block double berry. It's not that impressive. I mean, the real reason why you usually do this play is because you want to go range form, and you can immediately start sniping. So it's going to arrive here. VortiX sees all this, going to pull away from the berries. Pretty much got everything there, right? I think it's like maybe 300, 350 resources. And Jean, this is the problem when you don't bring the scout. Outpost is going to go up, but here's an interesting little thought.
Oh, the arrow slits is going to be there in time.
Oh,
that outpost. God. Sure, Jean builds like a lot faster.
Not that much faster.
Yeah, it's
33%
faster. Yeah, so instead of it taking a minute, it should only take like 40 seconds to get the outpost up. PuppyPaw in theory would need to tank quite a lot there, but no, VortiX is actually target firing her. And Jean...
PuppyPaw, no!
Jean, she's going down! What? He upgraded just in time, but it wasn't fast enough. No, he has to pay more!
Worse! That's so much worse!
Oh, no. He thought he could get the bonus HP, but the HP that you gain depends on the percent of health that she's at already. Barely being at like 5% health, she didn't get enough health there in order to survive the barrage.
I think he thought he could hit Divine Restoration in time, but that has a cost point. So instead of spending 100 gold, he now has to spend 250 gold.
Is it even off cooldown immediately? I think it is. I think
it should be, but it's like it has an internal cooldown, right? It's separate from the other detail, but like it's 100 gold versus 250 gold. So like at this stage in the game, now you have to like pause adding in 2 extra knights, which is catastrophic for Jean d'Arc. And well, it is at least going to be a TC play, right? So they're going to be getting ahead of that. But look at VortiX's economy. Dude,
yeah, he's
so happy.
Very close to age up.
I can't think of a game that I've watched where the Japanese feel less threatened now, right?
Oh, he's pulling the villager back. He's not sick. Oh god, that guy's gonna go down. 2 more hits.
You definitely get it here, right?
One
definitely. Hit. Oh, it's gonna cost you the scout, maybe, but who cares? You don't need him anymore.
Yeah, the scout's gonna stay alive as well.
Oh my god, dude, this is rough. I'm not even exaggerating. I don't think I've ever seen a game where a Japanese player feels like more unshackled and content. Like, even though there's knights still raiding in, Jean was the big threat, right? Jean was the balance and order to this, but she's gone. She's been erased from the map. She'll probably be alive by the time VortiX has started teching up.
Yeah, I mean, VortiX, he's only missing, like, what is it, 250 resources now in order to be able to age up. PuppyPaw, he's now going into the barracks, but VortiX hasn't even shown his hand yet. He hasn't even shown, like, what production building he's going to be going up with once he hits that floating gate.
He's masking it. Like, this is really smart. Like, you want to wait until you build it, because remember, like, floating gate, the time it takes to build, a stables, whatever it's going to be, is only 30 seconds, so you can wait. I'm expecting stables play here. I think stables is a really strong play. He might lean into rack simply because his opponent has gone second TC, but that does mean that mass knights can potentially counter you.
If VortiX has eagle eyes, then he probably saw that Jean was going to be women-at-arms there in her last, like, dying animation there. But it is going to be the stable.
It's such a strong play. It's such an insanely strong play because what you do is you match out the knights, then 2 minutes into your age up, you add in archery range, right? Because like, while Onamusha countering knights sounds really good, the problem is that you get gap closed and you are glass cannon, so you die, and it's incredibly underwhelming. Like you're throwing away 14 XP per death, right? So it's really bad against Jean. Mounted Samurai, on the other hand, they're going to be an age ahead. They're going to have an extra 40 health. On top of that, we mentioned the deflect armor, which means you're offsetting the strongest attack from those knights. And sure, you can talk about Divine Restoration, but Divine Restoration is what? On average, maybe 30 or 40 health back. So the age difference in health alone makes the Mounted Samurai win that fight.
Yeah. PuppyPaw, he's doing the smart thing. As the Ager comes in, he's going to be trying to mostly fall his base. Question's going to be there, like, is it going to be enough? Because, yeah, the knights are going to be coming in. Sure, PuppyPaw is going to have spearmen. This is one reason why I don't really like the knights, because, sure, it's a quick unit, does a lot of damage. It's a very high-value unit, so you're immediately going to be able to, like, put a lot of your resources out in military value. The only issue with it is that it's, like, the one unit that you can make in Castle Age, which gets counted by a feudal age unit for all civilizations.
Yes, I think like the difference though is that if you go on a Begisha, knights counters you, right? Like if this was not a heavy cav civ, definitely I think you go in a Begisha for an opening. And also, like the other thing is at this stage in the game, there's a fragile balance. You do not want to give PuppyPaw one way back in this game, which is getting a quick level 3. And if we're thinking about like effective HP, hardest to kill unit you can build, at the start of Castle Age, even though there's counter to it, it still has to be Mounted Samurai, right? Like everything else can just drop dead quite easily.
Yeah, and you're also getting the free Shinto priest, right? So you can also always just heal them up. If they get weak, you can pull them back.
Well, most of the walls are now up. Notice he's just patrolling around these Shinto targets, right? He wants to get his hands on the relics to escalate because he's aware of the second TC build. We have got those farms coming in for free. We're almost at a stage where we're seeing the level 1 Daimyo. That's going to give a big food booster that will keep these knight numbers pumping for VortiX.
Spearmen are going to be coming in. And this is also like still dangerous, right? Because these knights, when they go down, they
Dude.
Oh, God. That's a lot of value.
Yeah, not even a single strike in return, right? The knight just got flopped from the side, so his lance charge didn't connect. That was sick micro by VortiX. Love the way he's peeling this back. Like, he's now drawing PuppyPaw away from the relics because he has to. If he chased after the Shinto, these guys go into your economy.
Yeah. We're also seeing some horsemen coming. Okay, never mind. That got cancelled immediately.
Yeah, because you, like, I know where we're going to go. We're also seeing horsemen, and you're about to go, why? Like, it would be very odd at this stage. We should have Daimyo coming through, though. And the other thing I love about this comp, ever since they fixed Uma Bannerman, you're now going to, with this build, be able to buff up your entire army with the Bannerman aura. In the meantime, Mount Samurai are going to get a little bit of raid damage done, and it is a tech up on the way from PuppyPaw, but we're already seeing a lot of the TC value being stripped away, right? 5 working kills.
5 worker sets. Yeah. It's basically 1.5 minutes there that VortiX just kind of bought himself back when it comes to TC idle time. Then, and on top of that, the resource invested into the villagers as well. PuppyPaw, though, he's still in a pretty good position when it comes to the resources.
I'm sorry, something weirder is happening. We can't talk about resources right now. We have to talk about that thing on your screen.
No, this makes sense. This makes sense.
Yeah.
If you think about what VortiX and Luciferon, how they usually play hybrids, this play directly derives from that, going for like camel lances and then immediately into archers. Going into mounted samurai, forcing your opponent into their own spearmen, and then going for Yumi archers. The Yumi still do like the full bonus damage against spearmen, right?
Yep.
So
and,
it makes a lot of sense, and they're cheap and they're fast. So
and you even have discount dervishes, right? Like,
yeah.
as in you don't pay for these Shintos at all. So like that element is covered. In a lot of ways, it kind of feels better than what you usually see out the Abbasids. A little bit slow on the timing, but this is perfect because PuppyPaw. The other issue is, you know you're not going up against, say, like mass men-at-arms or like a lot of cavalry because your opponent built 2 TC. So he's already admitted, especially with these walls, that he's defending, he's not really attacking.
It has come in. We're seeing Arbalestry and men-at-arms come in. I really like this. I really like men-at-arm play from Jeanne d'Arc. It makes so much sense, right? It's such a food-heavy unit, and getting the consecration on those barracks early on, you're saving so many resources there.
It's effective HP as well, right? Like with Jeanne, it's all about getting units that can lose a lot of health, and then Divine Restoration gives you so many more points in a fight, is the way to think about it, right? Like compared to a spearman, even if it had the same health as a men-at-arms, it has no armor, so it's less value to you. One thing that's kind of crazy is, like, I think he must have scoured an element of this Yumi, because all of what he's building here makes sense against Yumi archers. It means that VortiX now has to consider maybe going towards the Onimusha.
VortiX doesn't quite have enough archers yet to push that in. Looks like a villager did get sniped. Knight, though, loses its life in return.
Level 3 range armor is coming, and PuppyPaw hasn't even dropped the blacksmith yet.
Yeah. Doesn't have any upgrades there right now, and yeah, I mean, the spearmen, they're just getting picked off one by one here.
And remember, the Yumi, the other smart part about this with VortiX, this is a cheap unit. Not only can you flood it, also when one of it goes down, not much XP for Jean. This is perfect. He's killing the entire army. He's killing them, overkilling them, so the Divine Restoration done nothing. Jean's gonna go down. Dude, this game looks almost over.
It's so over. There's no way for PuppyPaw to recover from this. Second TC is gonna go down. He's gonna be ahead, what, 15 villagers, but at the same time, VortiX got 3+4 relics. He's getting Yoroshiros. Got the army lead by a lot. No consecration on a lot of these buildings.
He's trickling troops to death here. Like, look at the damage the Yumi do to the men-at-arms. Like, this would have been a different game, maybe if he had the blacksmith and undermesh already in the way. He only just dropped that blacksmith. And that's great. You've got more damage. Too bad your units aren't living long enough to use it, right? Like, what a sick timing by VortiX. I thought he might consider siege engineering and a slow ramming, but why bother with that when you can just kill everything that exists?
I feel like everything that could have gone wrong there in the first 5 minutes for PuppyPaw did go wrong. Doesn't find nearly as many sheep, doesn't get the outpost up, and with that, GG gets called. It's just too many of these slight unfortunate situations that happen that on a level like this, just completely decide the game. And VortiX, the push with the follow-up, doesn't give PuppyPaw the opportunity to come back into it. Yeah, cleans up here, and the first game is going to go over to VortiX.
VortiX is like, what was this outpost rush crap? Go back to 2021, PuppyPaw. Like, I can't believe how brutal. It was just a bit too greedy, but you get why he was that greedy. Like, I want to dissect that element because some people might look at that like, oh, PuppyPaw, a silly mistake. But like, realistically, you could argue the mistake was leveling up. I think that's the one oopsie there, like believing in the power of the healing, it coming in quick enough. The tower placement, I don't blame him as much for. For a start, it looked like VortiX for a while was kind of like keeping on the edge until like he wanted to use the scout for body blocking. So you're committed at that stage. The next detail is like if you don't drop that outpost deep enough, the thing that I was going to highlight was going to happen is you would have just seen VortiX build a forge on the north side of the gold, and he would have been fine. So like it seems overly greedy, but realistically, like once you've ran Jean across the map like that, it's a necessity to even stand a chance in that game.
Yeah. The second TC definitely is like the one play that PuppyPaw could have done there to like stay competitive when it comes to like the situation in the game with the scaling. Looking at our next game, though, we're seeing Golden Heights, a hybrid map, and we're seeing two very interesting civilizations. I say interesting because VortiX with the Chinese, not something we see too often, not even on like hybrid maps. Usually VortiX, I think, he prefers civilizations like HRE and English on hybrid maps. China, though, against Mongols, definitely one of the civilizations that I would personally say feels best in this matchup.
Yep, because you know what? You said that you don't usually see him play China. That's because most people, Crackedy, are playing China defensively. But you'll know as well as I do, when you put water into the mixer right now, the new meta isn't to play defensively as China. It's to supervise the crap out of that Rax and then out-spam the spears of the Mongols.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, PuppyPaw as Mongols here, I don't imagine that he would go out for the fish very early on, not at all. So I think the first 5 minutes here are going to be very, very spawn dependent. If PuppyPaw gets like one of these gold-like spawns in, where he's got wood, gold, and stone all in range of his TC, of his main TC, then he's going to be in such a great position where he could just potentially go for like a fast fuel age play into archers, and suddenly like the mass spearman play from the Chinese kind of falls flat.
Yeah.
Gonna be very interesting to see what the map has in store here for us.
But that's where the scouting's important, right? And I think that's actually what makes this on a water map to me one of the most intriguing matchups. Is that we mentioned in an earlier series the two best civs at scouting, these two, right? So timings, rotations with those scouts mean everything because, as you said, if it's a fast feudal build and you've built spearmen, screwed. Other way, if your opponent has snuck out a villager when you weren't looking and you now want to delay going to spearmen, also screwed because if it's VortiX doing that, walls go up, easy peasy. And you know, it's not as RNG as you think. We see people using tree lines all the time. You don't need a tree line. Just build an L next to the edge of the map. Your natural border to wall in your docks is the map border itself. Let's find out which way it's going to go, though. I hear it beckoning us in game number 2 between VortiX and PuppyPaw, a Chinese-Mongol matchup. And I want people to get their bets in now. How many spears collectively between the two are we seeing in this game?
This is going to be an interesting spawn here for PuppyPaw. One thing, though, that I'm noticing, he went for a straggler tree, but he's using the Gur to scout for sheep. So he's not really... He doesn't really have the Gur right now where he wants to with the... Okay, he's going to chop another tree. That's a lot of downtime now because he's, like, has to wait until the tree actually gets chopped to be able to chop wood there again. This is going to delay his early play for the production buildings by a lot. Yeah, that's...
So this is one edge usually you get as the Mongols, right? Is like timing is everything on using the Falcon. I feel like this Falcon's a little bit early if you're expecting villagers because you get out here so early. It is not going to be necessary because we can see VortiX is just chilling at home for now. VortiX's rotation is likely to be a drop-off of sheep in the next 20 seconds after he's on the south corner. And then the nice thing on Golden Heights is you can rotate left and head to the enemy base. And you know, depending on the spawn, sometimes your opponent can't do the same because sometimes your TC is too close to the cliff edge.
Yeah, that's where the Gur comes in, that early Gur scouting. I don't think he found any sheep with it yet, though, with that early Gur. Oh my god, VortiX, he's getting... there were a couple of sheep. Oh, that's going to be the race. Oh, the movement speed arrow.
Just makes
PuppyPaw's going to pull ahead.
But this is where you can yoink the sheep on the left side, right? Because PuppyPaw, I'm wondering if he's going to notice this. Is he going to rotate through the short? He should be able to actually go between the cliff
Through
and
the
the
middle.
TC. If he does that, he should end up with a lot more sheep out of this. But instead,
No, he needs to go through middle.
Yeah,
That's where a lot
he
of the
has to.
sheep spawns. Oh no, he's going.
He's
Okay,
being
he's going the
greedy.
other way.
Okay,
He's
this
going
does feel
exactly
greedy.
the way where the Gur was.
He doesn't
Like,
trust it.
why send
I know-
the Yep.
Crackedy, you can't trust buildings, okay? All right, like who's manning that thing, right? Would you trust that building with what you just saw there? I wouldn't.
Yeah, we wouldn't trust it, but on the other hand side, now VortiX is gonna get that. I mean, why send the girl out there in the first place? That's what I'm thinking there. If you just gotta then go over there with the Khan once again. Granted, he is gonna find those 2 sheep, which he wasn't able to find with the Gur, which is a little bit annoying just because the Gur has so little line of sight while it's not built.
It's like having that drunk grandpapa who used to be like a famous racer, and you know he gets depressed when you don't let him race, but he also doesn't want to put down the liquor. So like you just stick him in an empty car park and let him drive around. That's what the Gur driver was there, right? It's like no one I can hurt here, nothing you can do, grandpa. So waste the rotation, and now we get into the spear spam. So this is where people get deflects whether their number was right. I'm just gonna call him out. BC said 5. I'm sorry, my friend, you were already wrong. This isn't going to stop before double digits. I'm pretty adamant with that.
Yeah, this spawn though, like, feels really great here now that the deer are being lured in for PuppyPaw. He's gonna have a lot of food to play with here, safely under his TC. Main issue that he's gonna have is his gold is definitely not gonna be even near, like remotely in range of his TC. Might need to put an outpost down there. VortiX so far, not a single move out towards the water. Instead, he's just gonna be pumping out spearmen, but doesn't have even close to as many spearmen as PuppyPaw.
You know what's great about this moment, Crackedy, is like a filthy Chinese main. I'm sorry,
Oh.
a proficient Chinese main. Is you get to highlight that it's much harder to play China here because you have, like, you're micro-intensive, right? You have to keep supervising the racks, and then the mill, and then the racks, and then the mill. These Mongol players, they just keep pressing one button when they get enough passive stone.
Freaking unfair, man. Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely like annoying. What I do is every now and then I just force a drop off with the berry builds. I supervise the mill, do force drop off, then I go back onto the barracks. VortiX actually scouts out the one villager from PuppyPaw, which is now going to be moving out to get a dock up. Both players still pumping out more and more spearmen, but VortiX, as time goes on, he's going to be pulling ahead now simply because the double production is not going to be a factor much longer here for the Mongols.
And there's the 20% food all along. And it's like also, I think that's why PuppyPaw is trying to pull a villager at this point. Like he can't just keep doing this long term, right? Like he understands that there's gonna be a weak point.
There's gonna be some idle time though now on the spearman production from VortiX. He mismacroed a little bit, he produced a little bit too many without getting his lumber camp out first. So all the straggler trees are gone. He just made his lumber camp there. It's a little bit of idle time. It's not gonna be the world just because the lumber camp is gonna be up relatively quickly. But yeah. It means that he won't be able to immediately contest that dock at all.
Yeah, and that's the scary part here. Is like PuppyPaw is going to get that operational, and also the interesting thing is like, you know, it looks really rough. You're like, oh, there's no way PuppyPaw's going to be able to age up alongside this quick enough. You have to remember, we're now 5 minutes into the game. This spam has been going on for a while, and whenever that happens, like what was possible before, like the spearman spam, you reach a point where actually the idea of sneaking feudal is quite doable, quite cruise mode, shall we say. But now, though, it's going to be cruising for a bruising. PuppyPaw doubling up on the spearman again.
This is where Mongols also have this little bit of an edge with the Khan being able to snipe down like these very, very low HP spearmen. Because in these spear on spear kind of micro games, what you want to do is you want to pull back your weak spearmen. That's where the Khan comes in, having that. Oh, that's a very early movement speed error, though. You want to have that for the fight.
Yeah, so like VortiX has to be smiling a bit. That's a huge advantage, right? So like this is now. Before, when this engagement happened on even numbers, it's not as much a micro warfare as it is like, damn, can't advantage. But now, if you're better on the micro, which VortiX is incredible in that department, there's a way you can win out. Flash comes in.
Spearman on spearman. Weak ones aren't actively getting pulled back from PuppyPaw from the looks of it.
Oh, same way the other way though. VortiX, his line's too thin, so he has to stand his ground with the heavily injured ones. And it means actually VortiX losing this fight.
He's getting some great shots at it, and now the Khan is going to be in a great position to snipe out the weak ones.
PuppyPaw now also on his way up. So after all that aggro back and forth, not only does he have 5 more spearmen, but he also has the tech underway. That micro is actually brilliant. Taking out 2 additionals, made that 3. VortiX, this might just be over. Like I've seen these type of games from VortiX before. If that tech up comes through, he might just wave the white flag.
Yeah, I mean, 12 to 6 spearmen. Castle, not Castle Age, Feudal Age coming in.
Feels like Castle in this game, man. Like that type of
Yeah.
advantage.
It definitely feels like it. And the Imperial Academy is now getting rushed up by VortiX. But what's he gonna make? Just archers? Then PuppyPaw could just transition into Kashix, and PuppyPaw is now gonna be having the eco advantage. Also, there's no more sheep. There's no more sheep, and VortiX. Never mind, there is still some sheep, but he's not supervising the mill where the most amount of villagers are at right now.
No, something definitely went wrong here. I think it's just VortiX was focusing on the micro in the fight, and he, like, from his perspective, like, okay, if I don't actually shift villagers across the berries now, I'm gonna have idle time there. I have to address. I'm probably gonna miss micro on the official there, right? So like, it doesn't feel great, but I kind of understand why he done that. Unfortunately, he's now in a game where he feels like he's a mile behind, right? Upgrades are coming through on both sides. VortiX is not supervising Iraqs. He's not rushing this upgrade. He, in fact, hasn't even started it. So PuppyPaw's spears are going to get upgraded. It means he's going to stay here.
He doesn't have the gold for it. He's missing 2 gold.
This is like, surely this is like a 90% advantage now for PuppyPaw.
Yeah.
Maybe more. Like, you know, you said archers at the counter?
VortiX wants to get a dock up on the pond. And it looks like VortiX with the villager, half of the villagers, he's going to be cleaning. I don't even think he's going to be cleaning up. No, he's not.
I mean...
Not immediately, at least.
It's going to cost him. And let's also keep in mind that that dot going up, like all this missing wood production, like how are you affording the boats?
Spears. Yeah, like no wood. VortiX can barely get the dock up. Wait, can he even?
Dude,
yeah, I think he.
No, he can get he can build it, but like it's irrelevant. He has no wood income.
No
now.
wood. Yeah.
He might actually
he would have to.
He
would have to chop 50. Yeah, he needs to get 50 wood in order to even make a lumber camp here.
I'm gonna vomit if I look at that left side of his TC any longer. Please.
I want to say, after the start that PuppyPaw had in the last game, this is only fair.
I don't want to look at it.
This is how RNG works, right, guys? Like one game, one player has a major disadvantage, the other one it's the other one. So it's all fair, it's all good. Balance has been restored, but yeah, this is looking really rough. PuppyPaw, the first one with the ship out. VortiX doesn't even have one in queue yet, and the fishing ships are going to be coming in. Khan now on the wood line there from VortiX. He's going to be able to slowly but surely annoy those villagers to death as well.
Reminder that this is also no wheelbarrow. It's really bad. Archers are already on the way.
It's 50 wood. You really want VortiX to invest 50 wood into wheelbarrow? He's already in this position.
I mean, probably not. That's all the wood he's now going to get because the archers have arrived. And then guess what? PuppyPaw knows he can now rotate around the left side and block out both tree lines. Like, legitimately. Oh my god.
It's
VortiX.
Checkmate. It's checkmate.
He just invested it in a Spriggle chip. What?
Yeah.
All right. Yep. I nod of the head. Archers arrive. Quick game number 2, but it does mean that we get that sweet third.
In here. Oh man. I mean, that was really, really rough there for VortiX. I feel like at one point, like when you see that Doc is coming in so late for PuppyPaw, you should probably just be looking for an even quicker feudal age there, because you know that your opponent is going to now start investing a little bit more resource into water, so you could at least get a timing in there. But yeah, PuppyPaw, I mean, it's also really great skill for the Mongols to be able to keep up with the Chinese when it comes to spearman production.
Mm-hmm. And it shows you just small details make the mile there, right? Like the detail you highlighted, the fact that he didn't actually prep for the lumber camp afterwards, you know. I'm gonna allow you to flex the Chinese again and talk about how hard it is to play on the Crackedy. For the Chinese, you have to spend 50 wood on that lumber camp, but the Mongols, their TC's already on the wood line, easy peasy. But no, I agree. It's like the builds I've been seeing at the moment, like when you're going 10 plus spears, Mongols do fall behind. The fact that he was able to stay ahead and then out micro VortiX, who, by the way, like most people would put him top 3 best micros in the game. I think it's fair to say that, like he's that incredible. That's no small feat. And has to be a big morale booster heading into game 3. He might need that morale booster because this feels like a tough matchup. I think Abbasids, it's just a very safe all-rounder civ in competitive play right now.
Yeah, Abbasids definitely feel like one of the top civilizations in the game right now. Byzantines, you mentioned it earlier, how Byzantines kind of are like similar to English in a lot of ways. Abbasids, I know Marine Lord says that they're probably a really good counter against English there. And
Yeah.
I would say that the same kind of works against the Byzantines here. Like having the Manjanics, being able to, like also having ranged rams there, in theory, pretty good against a civilization that can't even make their own rams.
That's true, right? Like, I mean, you're not suggesting we're gonna see some clown car. I don't want to hear that. I've seen what you've been doing on the ladder, but like I think that the issue with the Ibits right now is in the early game. I mean, we can hop in game to talk about it because like, we were talking about it before we became live, right? Like we both want to nerd out about this. This Civ's choice in Feudal Age is really what's breaking the game right now and making it cruise mode for them. So sounds like we are ready. I hear the birds tweeting to invite us in to a good old Frisian Marshes to decide this. VortiX versus PuppyPaw going the distance here. Matters for both of them. PuppyPaw, if he wants to try and get up the rungs and make sure it's a second or first place finish, he needs this VortiX to try and lock himself in and make sure that he doesn't face elimination. This game is critical. And we decided Frisian Marshes.
Yeah, PuppyPaw here as the Byzantines. Now the Canadians, they've done a lot of experimenting with the Byzantines when it comes around the mercenary play. Usually we do see something like Mass Longbowman coming out for them. In this matchup, though, I would personally really like to see the Eastern, I think it was the Eastern wing, where you... wait, no. The
You want Silk Road. You want Silk Road.
Yeah, Silk Road. Yeah, the Silk Road. So you get the the javelin throws. Just because the javelin throws, they work super well against the Desert Raiders that are coming out from VortiX. They do a lot of damage there. They're also great when you get the Camel Riders out, just because Camel Riders, they actually do work really well against units like crossbowmen in the later stages of the game as well. They also don't get affected by Camel unease, so you do have like cavalry that works there that you can get out. And yeah, overall, I think Byzantines mercenaries can have a solid matchup against the Ayyubids. One thing where it starts falling apart is when the siege comes in.
Yes, that's the problem time, right? And that happens quite quickly because if it's a military wing as well, the Ibids can actually use the camels to assist that build-up, so opening lances doesn't hurt you. I'm expecting this to be growth wing just because all the Byzantine merc options do actually a good job of dealing with those Desert Raiders. What would be really sick, actually, I think the Byzantines, like something that this map enables more is the idea of Hippodrome play here. Right? Because you get so many sheep, you can afford to pump Horsemen. Horsemen solves for an opening into the Desert Raiders. And also, if the Ibids want to do some sort of naked fast castle or use archers and horsemen instead, Triumph just makes your horsemen better.
Yeah, Triumph definitely really great. Also something cool, a very, very cool interaction here. You get the Espilatores upgrade for your horsemen with Byzantines. Actually, Camel Riders, when they kill villagers, they also get the bonus damage. Like for some reason, they're also affected by it. They also get the +4 damage against villagers, and they also get the plus gold that you get when killing a villager.
Yeah, it's just a shame that those neutral trade posts are just so far away. You know, I'm just saying, like it'd be tasty, but it doesn't matter, dude. I don't think I've seen PuppyPaw do Hippodrome in over a month, so kind of not surprised Grand Winery's going to come out. And it's weird for me because I don't know about you, I feel like Hippodrome, it sounds broken, but you never really see it look broken.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to get it to be broken. I think it really works out well when there's a lot of units in play early on in the game. If your opponent just goes for fast Castle Age, then you can't really kill that many units and you can't get those additional tickets in, and suddenly it doesn't feel as great anymore. Especially against a civilization like Ayyubids, which like to go for those really, really fast Castle Age timings. It's gonna, like, there aren't gonna be that many units out early on in the game that you can kill with your horsemen or to get the additional tickets. Actually, it looks like it's gonna be a fast-ish Castle Age kind of gameplay from both players here, as PuppyPaw also opening up with an outpost there. Might just be in order to be safe against the Desert Raiders, but could also then facilitate a fast Castle Age up. And I really like the idea with the Byzantines as well, because you can, in theory, if you want to, not that you should, because having units out is great, sell olive oil and get an even better timing in.
And actually looking like the berry location, the location, like, you know, sometimes we will see the 2TC build. Actually, we've seen PuppyPaw do that on the extreme defense before. So, like, even though we're seeing this Grand Winery opening, yeah. I think we might be seeing it. But actually, is it just a one drop-off? It might just be
It's
system.
all,
Okay.
yeah, might just be for Cistern and to be able to also afford a emplacement on the outpost as well. Once he gets a couple more buildings in.
Interesting. So I guess it makes sense you don't want to play 2TC here, right? Because like the Abbasids is different. I think the game where PuppyPaw done the 2TC full defense was against the French of Lucifron. Or was it Jean d'Arc, actually? And it makes sense there, right? But in this matchup, if you choose to turtle on 2TC, you're giving 5 relics to your opponent. It's the worst thing you possibly do here.
Yeah. It's going to be very difficult, especially against Byzantines, where you do really want to have those relics available to you. Getting plus 240 olive oil can give you so much tempo advantage as a Byzantines when it comes to just mercenary production, being able to like basically queue a mercenary batch for free every 2 minutes from the olive oil that you get from the relics. Gets you a lot of units out on the field.
I'm still a little bit surprised by the Desert Raider choice. I mean, I get it, right? It's going to take a little bit of time to get those first mercs in, but like, it's always wild in a game like this where I think the Growth Wing's kind of free. I guess the logic is if you go Growth Wing here, you have to set up an outpost on your gold or Lombos shut you down. Whereas this way, the Lombos are going to be kept back at home, right? They're going to be distracted by this.
Mm-hmm. And you also want to have the Growth Wing later on in the game.
True.
Wait, is that Kashix?
Wait, what?
That looks like it's... Yeah,
so
that's...
yeah, that is definitely
silk?
Eastern.
Yeah, that does
Okay,
not... Wait, no, it is the Growth.
No, sorry,
it is still
silk,
Growth.
okay. Wait, what was the...
The dagger is
Eastern.
curved.
Yeah, the curve is Silk Road. The straight longsword is Western.
Is Western?
What was the Eastern? I feel like no one does Eastern anymore, so I forget.
Yeah, I've not seen it in quite a while. Yeah, it looks like we are going to be getting some javelin throws in there, and makes sense because that one Desert Raider there, he's parked in quite the annoying spot. Scout has to be a little bit careful here.
Oh, Eastern is it's like more like a halberd. It's like the curved spiky sword, and then you've got like the pike. Yeah. See, I had to actually check it. I was like, that's what it looked like. Yeah, it is very like weird. I don't think we see it anymore.
What's PuppyPaw doing right now? He's not gathering any gold. He's got 8. Okay, now he's gathering gold.
That is a lot.
Yeah, he's not gathering gold with even as many villagers as I thought he would, considering how much food he has in the bank. And VortiX is now going up with the economic win growth. And
oh god,
yeah,
why?
Oh no.
No, that was why I was shaking my head when you were talking about growth.
Marine Lord. Okay, Marine Lord. Marine Lord
is
like,
Begin. Like, yeah, he's the most optimal guy. Like, he's the one who's always done it right. Beastie does it quite well as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's interesting because you can kind of discount me with the idea of like you messing up on the growth wing for feudal age, even though it's quite easy to not do that. Because admittedly, like exhausting the initial berries quicker gives you a slightly quicker tech timing. But the castle age, man, it's an extra 600 food.
All right, Marine Lord said it's okay. It's VortiX, it's okay. The guy's a brute, 0 finesse.
That's true. That's true. He's not only we give him 11 out of 10 on aggression, not because of what he does with military units. It's because of what he does to berries. You know, like that person, like you give him a nice little cheesecake. You look away for 10 seconds. You look back, it's all over their face. That's VortiX, man. He sees food, he wants to eat through it.
Oh,
Genies get hungry, man.
And it is going to be Camel Lancers here from the looks of it, but PuppyPaw already has some Limit Nay coming out. And there we go, Javelin throws, doing all the bonus damage there. Look at that, just a couple of these jabs getting thrown out, doing a lot of damage there. PuppyPaw is still macroing up to Castle Age, but it's very, very slow compared to how VortiX is pretty much already like 70% there.
I wonder if could you run Gulam instead here? Because like Gulam just counters the entire comp, right?
Oh, you mean Gulams from VortiX?
Oh yeah, God, no, not from the Byzantine. Yeah, from the Abbasids here, because like Lancers, you're against Limitane, right? But yeah, Gulams on this kind of map.
Great. I'm talking about it again and again that sometimes players are just too drawn to those Camel Lancers, and Gulams in many situations would just be a complete checkmate situation. Yeah. I really like the idea of just going Gulams in many situations, or even just one barracks, one stable, so you get some of both out. You get the Camel Lancers for like the immediate hit and then you get the follow-up aggression.
I ain't walking for no one. All right, now he's done surfing. They're going to move in. They're going to start poking. Villagers are actually out at war here. VortiX. I mean,
it's idle time, but these are like bonus villagers, so it's not idle time as well.
Oh wait, it wasn't growth wing, right? Was it advancement?
It was growth.
Wait, why do they have the same number of villagers?
Wait. Oh, he's housed.
Oh, for God, no! Come on! Not like this. Yeah, so unless you have enough room for the 8 to come out, none of them spawn weirdly enough, which is... I think that
makes
sucks.
sense.
I wish they had like the Lemmings effect, you know, where they drop them out one by one. That would have been so cooler, so much cooler, but... Oh, for God's sake, dude.
This engine is 3 years old. It can't handle it. Wait, no,
But
it's
he's
old.
not going to build a... Here's the thing, you wouldn't build a house, right? Because you're like, oh, Camelots just take ages to build. I don't need a house for like another minute.
Yeah, he's not getting these villagers out for a while, and that really hurts. I mean, we're getting back to the brute zero finesse kind of argument there, but yeah, this definitely hurts him now. He's not getting the villagers out for a while, and your economy is as good now as it could be for VortiX. He's also trading in camel lancers against the Limit there.
Hey, good guy PuppyPaw. All right, good guy PuppyPaw. He's trying to kill the army of VortiX quick enough so he can get his villagers.
Yeah, PuppyPaw's always been there in these. Oh my God. This really hurts. And there's not another house even being built right now for VortiX. I'm not even sure if he noticed at this point in time.
I mean, it's such a weird thing you wouldn't notice, right? Like, okay, now he's going to build a house, and there's going to be a facepalm moment, right? Oh my God. You know that feeling like...
There we go.
Yeah, but imagine this. You're VortiX right now. You're like, oh, this is optimal because my village is not going to come out the TC before the house is done, and then this happens.
The house comes in, he's going to get the villagers out, and then he's going to be housed immediately again.
Wait, is he building another house?
Now he's got to realize it. Yeah, now he's got to realize it. Wait, I just built a house. How the fuck have I housed it?
Oh my God, this hurts your timing so much as well. I mean, PuppyPaw, he is aged up. He's got extra units on the way. He's actually already now playing into the monks himself as well, so he could easily get 2 of the relics off this map. So far, VortiX hasn't really got out of his own base with the Lancers, but now with these 4 units being cleared up, we should see him able to posture on the map. It's just crazy to think how much better this game would have been if he just built one house.
Yeah. At least now he's ahead by an undisclosed amount of villagers at this point in time. Relics are getting picked up, but there's still a midnight without a counter out right now. The archer ranges were getting dropped by VortiX, but it's going to take some time for him to get them out. Is he on Golden Age 2 already, or is he about to reach Golden Age 2? Because that's when the upgrades are going to be coming in really, really quickly. So 2 more buildings, then it's going to be Golden Age 2, and with that, he'll be able to get all the upgrades for the archers, which he'll need very, very quickly. Are we going to see 2 Byzantine wins in a row?
I don't like the state of the javelins for him right now. He doesn't have permanent olive oil, right? So
yeah.
There's a risk.
I mean, he's gonna get some. He's getting the first relic in.
Yes, but so here's the thing: the pace at which you're gonna get them, though, and remember,
it's slow. Yeah.
This is military wing, which means Manganiques can just be built, right? So like VortiX right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for VortiX right now, it's you just need to spam enough archers. If you get enough archers, it almost feels like a guaranteed win. Like that timing against this type of comp is ridiculously powerful.
Yeah. Rivers have to be careful. Doesn't look like PuppyPaw's paying attention right now. And yeah, Dervish is gonna be able to wait. Villagers?
No, this is fine. These are the extra villages he got. Okay,
it's not idle time in theory. Yeah, sure.
These were free.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter as much. All right, Cistern level 3. He is getting a lot of units out with the Golden Horn Tower as well. We're seeing 27 compared to 19 military units out there. Army value is a little bit deceiving just because the olive oil units actually don't count in there. So in theory, PuppyPaw should be ahead.
Yeah, just ignore those statistics, guys. At this point, I'm not even sure I trust the relic count.
Ooh. Okay. Lose a little bit of health there, but he does have the dervish, right? So it's all planned in the end.
Yeah, VortiX, by the way, is one of the best players I've seen at using camel lances against spears. Because if you time it right, you can force the brace and then recharge straight away. It kind of sucks with camel lances because they do less base damage that way, but it's still more compared to your initial sword attack. Because like if you do a sword attack instead, there's a very big wind up to the next shot. Whereas if you like hover on camel lances, you can see if you do the lance, the attack speed on it is like 0.25 seconds or something, which means your second shot comes in really quickly.
Well, this is going to be a little bit tough though now. For VortiX, he's getting a couple barracks up. Definitely needs the Doodlums now in a little bit because right now everything he has in the field, PuppyPaw has an answer to. Even if those Doodlums come out, we are seeing a transition into crossbows now as well behind all of that. VortiX, he's gotten 3 relics. There's still 1 that PuppyPaw could get. It's going to be very crucial for him to get that 1 in as well. Oh, did he even scout that one? He's on the sacred side instead of getting the relic. He might not have scouted the relic.
I mean, he did beeline across the side. Yeah, dude. Because remember, he came south and he
blind spot there.
Yeah, just a tiny one. Because if you remember, PuppyPaw ran south and cut VortiX off at the south corner.
To be fair, what is there that he wants? You don't want to trade. You don't want to go out on the map as Byzantines.
This is not Frisian marshes right now. The amount of extra sheep that are in that right side corner has put this down to an average of dry Arabia. Someone's going to get a jackpot if they ever go over there, man.
Do we already have olive groves starting to be built in PuppyPaw space? Yeah, there are a couple.
Oh, I just realized neither of them ever getting those sheep because neither of them have a scout now. Sheep are sweating right now. Like, you mean we're going to live for once? Yeah, boys.
Oh, VortiX has a scout as well, but he is going to scout in a little bit. Or not. Never mind.
He must know about the sheep. Lances. No basics in low. We haven't got Mamluk's Bravery. That would actually make a big difference here. The Golden Glow, like the Preach Free Power, pretty strong. A little bit limited against Limitane, but decent enough. Lancers are not going to be able to win this fight, so a really good position for PuppyPaw to leverage.
He needs VortiX needs Manganiques right now in order to be able to deal with this range pull. Manganiques are also great because they do the full damage against the Limitane, even in their shield wall formation, because it's siege damage.
One thing that scares me.
I think the ball is too big for PuppyPaw. This could be. Yeah.
Do we have kite shields? Because that's what's scaring me. Like, we're at kite shields territory. And if kite shields comes out, you're just dead. So it's not there yet. By the time, like, he's been imagining now, this is a very small window. PuppyPaw is likely to react by going back, getting kite shields, and then coming again. Ooh, that was... though. Yeah, that was not an ideal split. PuppyPaw tried to get cute and looked a bit ugly.
Oh man, this game is definitely not going the way that I had thought it would. There's been a lot of situations that made this game very weird. I'll say that much. We're finally starting to see more and more golems out, but there still isn't really a response that VortiX has to.
Are you trying to say this is not the Crackedy build order?
I mean, neither is here.
Would you add in more houses if you were the Abbasids?
Probably. I want to say that I would pay attention to that, but at the same time, VortiX is still a much better player than me. And there have been times as well where I caught myself being Ayubits and being like, oh, wait, I'm housed.
Oh, it's definitely weird to think how different this game would have looked if VortiX had that extra gathering speed, right? Like, I think that these military forces would be closer. That Manganique timing may have been more aggressive. Speaking of which, he has now got 2. PuppyPaw is not going to go the kite shield route. Instead, it's going to be
He is getting Sprinkles. Yeah, Sprinkles definitely going to be very important here. This is where a lot of times Byzantines can just downright lose if they don't respect the siege from the Ayubits. PuppyPaw being nice and early here when it comes to Sprinkles is going to need a couple more though. Mead said he is going to have a way of dealing with that. We're also seeing some Camel Riders coming in now.
I think that's just the Golden Horn Tower though.
Yeah, probably, but you can still use those free units to raid, right? And we do see a couple of Limitane also being used right now to disrupt the food income from VortiX.
Oh, game was not complete there, so VortiX is going to get a breakthrough right now. These Manganiques are his life force, his life essence, and unfortunately they're about to lead. Oh, PuppyPaw will get back just in time to protect it. Mango Shot does almost kill it though.
It's so low.
Wait, pulling villagers to repair might not be advisable.
Oh, no. It's down! Oh no! And he doesn't have gold. He doesn't have gold. It's about to run out. He doesn't have the gold for another one.
I don't think he has those villagers anymore. Jesus, did Byzantines have healthcare? I don't think so. They may need it here. Manganique holding hostage. Wait, PuppyPaw's building a Mangonel.
And he has an outpost with Mangonel in placement as well.
Okay, that wins. That's Mango power.
Yeah, and now the Cattle Riders come in as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Egos definitely does. Limitane have reached in. One Manganique is down. Second one, not really getting the hits he's looking for anymore. PuppyPaw just able to outblob him in the end. Great flex and a pullback there. A man who looked desperate, instead able to get out of the corner he's been pushed into.
Us archers, they're just not doing as much as they need to right now in this situation. The shield wall just proving to be too effective here. And it's kind of weird, right? Because VortiX, yeah, and it's kind of weird that VortiX for the longest time here, even though he aged up first, even though he gets that like +8 villagers in, he was behind in military the entire time.
he was missing that eco for quite a while. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
also deceptive, right? Because the Abbasids have a worse gathering rate on the Golden Age than what the Abbasids get. The Byzantines, it's like having Golden Age Plus at this stage of the game, the systems added. And I think it's at like level 4 system, if not 5, and that's gonna be it. GG gets called. PuppyPaw will take the dub, and it means that VortiX's situation still now remains a little bit dicey, considering he's got Dumu nibbling at his heels.